So here's everything that I'm going to use materials wise for this oil change. I've got my 10 quarts of Mobil 1, I've got my AC Delco PF64 filter, I've got a oil drain, and I've got the little hose with the fitting there, and you're probably wondering what that is. Now, you guys are probably also wondering, you've seen me do an oil change on this car before, so why do another video about it? Well, this is a special oil change because you may remember that I did a video a while back where I added a Stahlbus oil drain plug. Now, I've done oil changes since doing that, obviously, but I haven't filmed them, and that's because it was so quick and easy. You can tell that I've been doing it because that hose is quite dirty. But basically, with the Stahlbus oil drain, all I have to do is connect the fitting on the end of that hose into the Stahlbus drain plug, and all my oil drains out. So I can have that hose already inside my drain pan, and I get absolutely zero mess when draining the oil at that point. So the only slightly messy part is just when you remove the filter, and that's always kind of is what it is, unless you have a filter that's up top. So let's go ahead and show you guys what that looks like so you can see how simple this oil change is now. So here we are underneath my Camaro, and you can see the Stahlbus oil drain plug there. So let's just go ahead and take that protective cap off. All right, so grab that with your hands. That comes off. All right. Pretty easy to do. Now, I've got my drain pan here, and I've got the hose already into the hole of the drain pan. So I get the fitting portion and pop it up in here. All right. Push it. There we go. Turn it so you can see oil is draining, and it's just that simple. I didn't have to have a wrench, I didn't have to take off a bolt, I didn't have a big mess of oil spilling everywhere. I can just go do something while that drains. Alright, so I've basically allowed this to drain. I went away, did a couple things on my computer for work. You know, you can take your time, do whatever you want. It really only adds a couple of minutes as far as draining out the oil. It does make it a little bit longer, but it is just a couple minutes because it does drain a little bit slower because it's coming out of a tube instead of right into the open air. But either way, it's really not a big deal. The only part of this that remains a little bit messy is our friend the oil filter over there. So unfortunately, they chose to put that on the bottom instead of up top like a lot of manufacturers are doing, and I find fantastic because they're facing down and you take it off and there's no mess. But whatever, I digress. Let's go ahead and take this filter out, and then we'll pop on a new one and pour new oil in, and our oil change is done. No muss, no fuss, minimal mess. Throw on some gloves, get that filter out, so we move on to other things. Suckers on there. So having removed the other oil filter, which was an unnecessary nightmare, this is something I always say is like, when you tighten these things on, turn it on with one hand until it's snug, and then just give it a little bit extra, right? Like a quarter, not even a full quarter turn, like just a slight little turn. That's it. You don't have to tighten the heck out of this. I don't know what I did wrong last time. One thing I'll tell you I definitely did wrong is I bought an STP filter instead of a AC Delco. Don't do that, because I bought an oil filter wrench that fits this and does not fit this stupid STP filter, because they have to be extra and use a different housing, or I don't know what. Or maybe AC Delco is being extra. One of them is. The point is, it slips on, but then it literally just slips. It doesn't grab the stupid filter. So I had to use a screwdriver. I had to jack up the car a little bit higher on one side so I could get in there with a screwdriver and hammer, and then, you know, go old school on it. So let's go put this new guy in. All right, take this guy. I'm gonna pop open the new oil. All right. finger in the new oil. Lubricate the threads. Lubricate the O-ring as well. Not the O-ring, rubber gasket. It just happens to be a circle. So I tend to call it an O-ring. Alright, just get oil all up in here. All up in these threads. Oil here helps tough the seal. Oil there helps these threads not to seize. Just go back under your car, throw this on, and again, until you feel the rubber start to squish nice and snug, and then a little bit extra. And that's it. Should be easy enough to take off next time. And if you do it with one hand, hopefully, even if it tightens over time, you still will be able to remove it if you use two hands. Go ahead, pop my funnel in here, and then we'll throw 10 quarts of oil in this thing and we're done. Of course, make sure, right, you don't have to replace any plug on the bottom, but do make sure to remove the fitting with the hose, because otherwise oil is going to be draining as you pour it in. Okay, I removed mine and I just double checked it now just in case. So here goes. Do this carefully enough. You know what? Let me cut this so I have a nice, clean, controlled oil flow. Alright, so got my oil, got my filter, and I've made a mess, which sometimes happens because that's how my nut works out. No harm, no foul. Just a little bit of a spill, nothing crazy. Alright, so that's that. Everything's clean. Pour the other 5 quarts in there and we'll call this a day. So I gotta be a little bit more careful around the strut tower, and that's gonna help me not make that spill. There are little parts you can buy with a little angle neck and like a funnel that like threads into that, or clips in, and it just keeps you from having to deal with that. I highly recommend you get it if you want. It'll be 40 bucks. There's 20 bucks for each of the 2 parts. Luan has a video on how to do an oil change for these things that covers it. If you check out his video, you'll see that. Scared the crap out of me. Okay. There we go. So last time I made the mistake is I was tilting it, letting the bottom of the bottle hit the strut tower, and that's what caused it to flow where I didn't want it to flow. This time I was mindful of that, and surprise, surprise, no problems whatsoever. It's all in the technique. So I suppose if you wanted to save 40 bucks, be hard-headed like me and refine your technique and be very mindful of the strut tower, and you can probably do this without making any messes. But you know, in the spirit of adding a Stahlbus drain plug so you don't have a mess when you drain it, why not add a couple things here so you don't have a mess when you fill it. And that's that. All the oil's in there. This oil change is done. Thank God. Because that stupid filter made it take way longer than it needed to. Part of that was my stubbornness too. In order to get the screwdriver in the filter, you need the car high up so you have room to work. I should have jacked it up. I might have even been able to take it off by hand at that point if I had enough, leverage to grab it. But oh well, you live and you learn. So now I'm gonna just take my oil drain pan out of the bottom of the car, right? And then I'll go ahead, do some cleaning and reset the oil light inside the car. All right, let's get this guy on. Go through my menu here. All right, there's the oil light. I'm holding down the select button, and there we go. Hold down the select button for a couple seconds and you're back at 100%, and that is the oil change. You're done, basically, and that's it. You're all ready to roll. So that's pretty much all there is to that. Assuming your oil filter cooperates, adding the Stahlbus drain plug just makes changing your oil a much simpler process, a much cleaner process, right? Because you have the hose directly into your oil drain, you connect the fitting, oil flows out. There's no opening, you know, taking out a bolt and just opening your oil pan out to atmosphere and allowing oil to spill out at whatever angle and possibly get on the floor. It just makes things a lot simpler. Installation is extremely simple. I do have another video where I covered that, basically just threading it in place of your original oil drain bolt. Very, very simple. Really couldn't ask for more. You do tighten it down, torque it down to a certain amount. I don't remember what it is, but I do cover that in the other video. But there you go. That's basically all there is to that. It's just a quick little mod that makes life that much easier. I will be doing this on my Miata and my Tacoma, which are other cars that I also drive quite frequently and therefore have to change a lot of oil on and would benefit from that. The Volkswagen won't have that simply because it uses a different setup where it's just like a little plug, and that's easy enough to do anyway. So that being said, I will be making a lot more videos like this, so if you like this sort of thing, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified when I post up another one. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to leave that in the comment section. And as always, thank you guys very much for watching.